Yes, welcome everyone here to the Smash Evening Show right here on Smash FM here on a Friday here in Melbourne. Of course, let's go up to our friends up in Sydney and, of course, speak with the Penrith Pantherettes cheer squad. And, of course, we've got four very special guests joining us right now to tell us a bit about it, especially the grand final they experienced on the weekend. Thanks all for you for joining us.
Thank you so much. Happy to have us.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's such an honour to be chatting to you today.
No worries. Well, I'll get all four of you to introduce yourselves. And how long have all four of you been with the Pantherettes?
I'll kick it off. So my name is Vestal, and this was my 6th year with the Pantherettes, which was super, super exciting. And I'm loving it. And hopefully I'll be back again next year.
Amazing. I'll go next. I am Rasheen. This is my 3rd year as a Pantherette. And it's been a crazy 3 years being as a Pantherette, and I'm so excited and hopefully be a Pantherette next year.
I'll go next. I'm Ashlyn. I have been a Pantherette for 4 years now. I absolutely love every single game and the atmosphere, and I can't wait to come back again next season.
So my name is Paige. I've been with the Pantherette. I was trying to do a bit of quick math on my fingers before, trying to calculate, but I think I've been here for 4 years as well, or 5 years, 4 or 5, one of those. And I've loved every single minute of it.
Tell us a bit about the grand final on Sunday, which obviously the Panthers won. I guess tell us a bit about the experience of a grand final week.
I think just the anticipation leading up to this week was unreal for all of us. Like for myself personally, I was going through the emotions. I was really excited and then I was nervous. But thankfully it all worked out in the end. Honestly, we've cheered at a grand final before, but hands down, I can say this was my favourite game. Just the atmosphere was unreal, how good it was.
I'd say to add on to that, for us, definitely some of us girls that have been there a lot longer, especially when it came to COVID, that really took it away from us, especially last year. We were all pretty disappointed. I'm sure I can speak for all of us that we were super disappointed we couldn't be there when they actually won their grand final compared to when we were there when they were versing Storms that first time. But let me tell you, the atmosphere when we walked on, and they had Jimmy Barnes performing, there was nothing that compared to that. That moment is literally I reckon etched into all of our memories. That was amazing.
Being a Pantherette for 4 years now, and then having COVID happen and not being able to perform on the field, it was pretty upsetting seeing it on the TV when knowing that I could be there in person. And as soon as I walked out on that field and saw the fireworks, saw how many people were in the crowd, it's just the feeling of performing again felt amazing, because we haven't performed like that in front of so many people since before COVID, and just going out on that field and smashing it and supporting the boys, it was just the best feeling ever, and I will remember that forever. It was so good.
And I think the week coming up to it, us girls just couldn't believe what was actually happening, with the fact that the last 2 years they've made a grand final. Yes, the first one we got to go to, but with COVID we couldn't enjoy this experience as we got to do it this year. And the whole week we were just oh my God, girls, just soak it all in, because when will this happen again? As much as the Panthers are killing it and they're really 3 years in a row now, but we're just it was the most amazing experience, and 80,000+ fans was just a shock but amazing adrenaline feeling when we got on there.
The Panthers, as you were mentioned, made the last 3 grand finals. 2020 obviously was a COVID year. 21 obviously the grand final was in Brisbane, and obviously this year 22. So you've had a mixture of sort of, we're there, didn't get much in regarding to enjoy it with the fans, and then obviously the game was in Brisbane, so you couldn't go up there because of lockdown, and then obviously this year you got back to some normality where fans then get to interact with them. So how special was this year regarding to you got the chance to interact with the fans on the day before the game?
I think the best way to sum it up would be to say it was about time. I feel we got so close the last couple of years, so it was about time that we got to be really involved. We got to have it in our home state. So I think that was really just the icing on the cake, probably why this grand final was my favourite, just because all the boxes were ticked for this one.
Yeah, I just think seeing the fans just being able to be there, I think that's because, especially with being in Brisbane and the first one, I'm pretty sure it was only 75 or maybe 50% capacity too, just having the stadium filled, even though it was like more Eels, or like the Panthers fans still were so loud and proud, and it was so incredible to see. And the fact that when we got to run around with, like, after the victory, the fans were just so crazy excited, and it just made me feel even more excited than what I already was. We were already jumping out of our seats every time they scored a try, but it was just like the atmosphere was just something you will never ever see, like, ever, unless you're at a grand final. And it's just so incredible that we actually got to be there for it.
Yeah, I feel like being at that stadium, we've never had that many people in the crowd before, like since I've been like cheerleader, and being there, seeing so many people around, and like even all the supporters were quite supportive for us. So like once we didn't like, it just had such a good feeling when we did win. As soon as we did the victory lap, we went around, like everyone congratulated us, everyone said how good we did, like the fans like acknowledged us so much and said how grateful they were that we were there. So it felt so good to like be recognized and acknowledged for, like, because we do try really hard to perform for everyone, and like we do put a lot of work in like every single week, and to know that they do appreciate us being there, it just had such a good feeling for us.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, especially with what Ashlyn said. I think a lot of the times people actually don't realize how much work cheerleaders actually put in. And I think some of the times we can actually get very, very, very overlooked. And that's how I feel like a lot of the girls within our industry, and especially just like women in general, sometimes feel, especially when you're in a male-dominated sport. So for us, I feel like the most fulfilling aspect is interacting with the fans. And when they actually say that they appreciated you, for us girls, it just goes such a long way. And I think that's all we want to hear, because at the end of the day, we're there definitely to cheer on the boys, but we're there to perform. We're there to like help the crowd get amongst it. And so when we hear that all that hard work has actually been acknowledged, that was amazing. And even for us, we were all standing out the front and really interacting with all the fans. So not just the Panthers fans, but the Eels fans are actually surprisingly really nice as well. So it was just an amazing experience. And definitely, the fans, that was probably hands down the best fit.
So on grand final day, how many photo requests did you all get?
I'm sure we were outside. I think we were outside for about an hour.
Yeah, we were outside for so long. We had so many people. Like, we were trying to go from like our change room out to the front to get photos and interact with crowds, but we just kept getting stopped every 2 minutes for photos. And once you stop, they just all like keep coming around asking for photos, and we're like, oh, like keep following, like, because there was like the NRL sign and like all these photographers out the front where we were trying to get, but it did take us so long to get there. But yeah, like as Paige said, like we did have so many Eel supporters as well, all wanting to get photos with us, and that was so lovely. Like, and like everyone just wanted to get photos, and it was so good. Like, we had to split up in separate groups so that we could fit everyone in, and it was such a good feeling. But yeah, definitely, like, I don't even know how many photos, too many to count.
I had the lucky job as well of chaperoning the mascot, which meant as soon as we exited those gates, we had an hour out in the precinct before we had to go back in. I wouldn't say we didn't even make it 200 meters, myself and the mascot, because in an hour, because there was just that many photos. So yeah, my cheeks are definitely sore by the end. But one thing that was really, really nice, after the grand final, the very next day on the Monday, a fan actually reached out to me and sent me a video of myself with his two little girls and the mascot, which was like so nice just to see how like I was a small part of their day, but the girls were so happy just to take a photo, and they held my pom-poms. Like, it's so nice just seeing those little things back afterwards.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people do come up and say how important we are and how much like it made their child's day to get a photo with the cheerleader, because we have so many like little kids looking up to us and wanting to be like that. And like I was the same, like I was on the field, and then that night and the next day and even a few days later, I'm still getting photos from all these people because they're like, oh my God, like I seen you and I got a photo with you, and I had no idea because there was just so many people. I couldn't remember everyone, but it's so good when you get them sent back to you and you get to see all the photos that you got taken with everyone. It's such a nice feeling.
Also like the feeling where if they want autographs from you as well. I find that so funny. It's like you have all the little kids and they have their like football jerseys and the footballs in their hands, like, can you sign this? I'm like, sure. Like you want the cheerleaders to sign your jersey, then that's fine. But like, yeah, definitely our faces were hurting by the end of it, especially with all smiling here. But it was definitely like a very like an experience that you will never ever forget, of how important you are to just like kids and even just all the fans out there. That little moment just made their days, so it was so exciting for us.
I loved it. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm someone that I love to take a good photo. I was there with my little I had it over the girls, like when they were getting photos, making sure the angles were perfect. Like, I love it. That's, to me, like my favorite part is when we get stopped, we have the photos. For me, it's not a nuisance. Like sometimes our coach is like, okay, we've got to get to A to B. I'm like, A to B? I'm more worried about making sure I'm getting this perfect photo with this gorgeous little girl. Like, to me, like that's the moment I live for. What do you mean? Like, that's what I'm here for. But that's just so fulfilling, because when I was younger, right, I used to go to all these games, and instead of worrying about the boys on the field when I was 5 years old, I was more worried about the cheerleaders, and I wanted to get a photo. And it's just such a full circle moment for me. Like when I get to take photos with little girls who say, I want to be a cheerleader, and I get to tell them, you can. Like when you get old enough, you absolutely can. So for me, not a drama at all. Too many photos to count? Not a problem. I'll take as many as you want.
Obviously, the Panthers won reasonably easily at the end. So how was the celebration like for yourselves? Even though it was a very late Sunday night game.
We definitely have this video that we think is the most, I love this video, and it's a core memory, I think, for everyone. It's just when the siren went off and we all jump up from our seats and we all just went straight into each other and hugged each other. And some of us were like even crying because we like got to actually watch them win, like in person. We got to like be pretty much in their faces when they were trying as well. So we were like, just that moment where we were just jumping around, just acting like little kids, but like it was so incredible. And I think all of us were just, I don't know, it was just something that you can't express how much gratitude and how grateful we are to be in that moment and to be in the position that we were. Because we're just lucky that we had an amazing, successful team. The boys worked so hard and they deserve that moment to be back to back because they've worked their asses off, but then we've worked our asses off as well. Sorry if I can't say asses, but worked our butts off as well. And we're just, it was just a memory that I don't think any of us will ever forget. And that video will be a cherished moment in my life.
Tell us a bit about your amazing coaches and your, obviously, the amazing Kitty who obviously did all your amazing performances, choreographed your amazing performances.
I think there's two ladies who have to give like a big shout out to. Number one is Laura. She's our manager and she's the owner of Westside Performing Arts. So she literally organises anything to do with the Pantherettes, all game day stuff, any appearances, even stuff like this. She's responsible for, so mainly to her for being our manager, and then to Kati, who like I think I can speak on behalf of all the girls. She's just amazing. She is also a professional dancer herself, and she's cheerleaded in both the NRL and I think it was the NBA.
Right.
Yeah, and like she's just amazing. Like the choreography she comes with, how dedicated she is. A lot of people wouldn't know this, but like even during COVID lockdown, she was still running like Zoom sessions for all of us to keep dancing. So like she like is amazing. Like we owe a lot to those two ladies just for always backing us and pushing us and like for the opportunities they've given us.
Yeah, I feel like Laura like doesn't get enough credit. Like I feel like we appreciate her so much, and she does so much for us. She cares about us so much, and she sticks up for us all the time. And she's always there to help us out. And Katie is just so passionate. She loves all of us, and the amount of effort she puts in and day out on her, like when she's driving home from work and to her other job, she'll be sitting in her head thinking about like what song would the girls want to do. She'll be choreographing in her head so that by the time she can get to us, she's prepared. She just puts her whole heart and soul into us, and like I'm forever grateful with how much effort she does put into us. It's so good.
But I do want to, again, like just have a big shout out to Laura and Kati. Again, like I just want to be a little bit candid and honest. And behind the scenes, there was a lot of changes that happened to us girls, especially during COVID. It changed a lot. And you even saw like a lot of NRL teams actually drop their cheerleaders afterwards. Parramatta, one of the examples. If you cut that out, you can leave it in, whatever. But I just want to say that, well, anyways, we won anyway, so who cares? Leave it in. But there has been so many changes that have happened after that. And I think sometimes with the NRL, again, like with women in the NRL, those girls have really, really, really pushed for us to be back on the field. There's a lot of things, behind the scenes that went down, especially even at Grand Final, and they made sure that everything was running smoothly for us and that we were on the field and that we had the best experience possible. So I'd love to give like a huge shout out, again, to Kati and Laura for working with us and making sure that we're really appreciated.
So how did all you get involved in, performing and entertainment?
With Pantherettes, we do an audition process in January or February, depending on when they want to do the auditions. Normally, it's a really good turnout every year, maybe 80 or 60, 80 plus girls come. And then from there, they like cut down each round that we do, and then they finalize their squad. But with entertainment, it's a really like tricky thing. Especially the industry is really hard to get into half the time. Not a lot of jobs, not a lot of I don't know how to word it, but I don't think there's a lot of spotlight on the entertainment industry, and I think we needed to make it a bigger thing. We do get like pushed aside sometimes, but when you've got people like even you're helping us spread the word and everything, it makes it a lot easier. I know for me personally, I've been dancing my whole life, and like to get into the industry is a lot of no's, and you got to take a lot of no's to find that one yes. And when we finally made it to this, and I finally got the yes in this, it makes you realize why you're in the industry and why you love it so much. But if you guys want to add on,
if I was to add on to that really quick, I think it's very important to note that within Australia compared to, let's say, overseas in the USA, so the opportunities for cheerleaders is very, very vastly different, and just opportunities for girls within the dancing industries. You'll tend to find a lot of dancers will go overseas to America because there's just a lot more recognition when it comes to the performing arts. It always just has been one of those situations. So I feel like for me, I've always been a dancer growing up. But now I would say that NRL cheerleading for me is where I'm still continuing to do that dance. Other than like what I said, I feel like all of us will go out on the weekend and we'll still be able to put on a bit of a performance whenever we go out clubbing. But outside of that, oh, for sure. Of course, we're all talented dancers here, so I'm not gonna lie, like, I love going out with all the girls and we'll do our routines. If there's a song that comes on that we've done a dance to, best believe we're all getting into our like choreographed positions and dancing. But that's how I feel like we all just keep active outside of it, because I know that a few girls still dance, but for me personally, it's really just doing this and then Saturday nights.
Just adding on, I think because all of us have been like dancers our whole lives from such a young age, pretty much, unfortunately, within the dance industry, once you hit that 18 and you're out of the studio, as Rasheen said, it's very, very hard to get into that industry. So a lot of us just go into our full-time jobs. So this NRL cheerleading allows us still the opportunity to, you know, push ourselves to learn choreography and to perform. And our turnaround, sometimes we have a one rehearsal turnaround. So that literally within one night, within a couple of hours, we have to learn an entire routine. And then a couple of days later, it's it's on the field. So I think it keeps us accountable, it keeps us active. We still get to use and develop our skills, because where else in the entertainment industry, like there's a lot of spotlight on the singers, on the actors, but not so much on the dancers. So this is a really good platform for us.
Yeah, I feel like adding on as well, like I'm also someone who's been dancing my whole life. I've been dancing since I was 2, and the feeling of performing in front of so many people is like just what I've always known. And it is the best feeling in the world to just perform in front of so many people. Like the more the better. I love it so much. And I feel like when you do get out of the studio, once you turn 18, I personally went to a full-time dance course. So I was dancing Monday to Friday, over 8 hours a day. And it's where I built like more connections and things, and I learned so many things, and it made me realize what I wanted. But then once I graduated from that, I was like, what now? And I knew about like the Pantherettes, and I was like, that would be so cool to do, like get to perform in front of everyone. And I love learning routine and getting to perform it. I think it's so much fun. And then when I got into that, and I get to rehearse every single week, and then get to perform what I work so hard on in front of so many people, and then just like congratulate us and like clap us on. Hearing the clapping at the end just like is the best feeling ever. But yeah, like dancing throughout my whole life, and then COVID, it kind of took everyone back. And after COVID, being able to perform in front of so many people, like it felt normal again. It feels like life again. Like I love performing in front of so many people. It gives me the best opportunity to continue to get that for however many years I'm able to do it.
What does the dance/entertainment industry mean to all of you, and especially being part of the Pantherettes?
Wow, that's a good question. So for me personally, it's my life. Like Ashlyn, I've grown up just performing, and like even in the living room for my family or anything like that, just performing was everything that I've done, everything that I've known. It's the only thing I know pretty much when I was growing up. And just being able to, I don't know, make other people smile with what you're doing. And dance is like expressing your feelings or expressing an emotion to other people. So if you can make those people feel what you're feeling, then you've done your job right. And Pantherettes, I just find a lot of people I think people who stay home and don't go to the games and watch it on TV, I don't think they realize that Pantherettes are actually a huge part of the NRL. Because when you go and people are there for the pre-game, for when they're like warming up and stuff, and we're performing, how many kids, how many like adults, anyone have a smile on their face once we finish, once we're running back and we're going to like pick up our poms, pick up our flags, getting ready for stand up flags up. How many people are like, wow, that was amazing, girls, good job. Like the daughters like got the biggest smile on their face. They're like, I want to be that one day. Just pushing the next generation to be part of the entertainment industry, making it grow, making it bigger, making it more known is something that we're just all passionate about. And that's what makes entertainment industry so beautiful and so amazing to be a part of, because we get to be somebody that gets the next generation ready and like makes them believe that they can do it. And so if we can do that, then that's what makes it so special.
Another really important thing to note about the entertainment industry, yes, we're training, yes, we're putting our skills out there and performing, but apart from that as well, we're also spreading a message. We're also helping to promote the club and the boys and the athleticism and everything that the NRL stands for. So they sort of go hand in hand, and I think that's something that we need more awareness about, that we're entertaining and we're putting something together and we're performing it, but it's also for other reasons, whether it's gaining awareness or, you know, increasing the game day fun or whatever it is. So it definitely has a lot of value in it. And I think like Penrith Panthers, they obviously can see that, which is why they've brought us back again, which we're very lucky to be back again. But it definitely has a lot of value, the entertainment industry.
Yeah, I feel like the Roisin and Vestal can have said it better. Like, I feel like we are helping the industry grow that little bit, because like like I think the cheerleaders are a big part of game day, and a lot of people, if you're not there, you don't see, like, we're there hours before the boys are there, and we're on like the training field rehearsing our routine with our pom-poms, getting photos, like saying hi to fans, and then we come up into the room, we get changed, and we go straight back out again, and we're getting photos. We then go onto the field, we do our performance as well, and then we come off like we're performing from the moment we get out of our car and leave. Like we even outside, I know that I will be walking somewhere and like I will still get recognized, and they're like, oh, you're a cheerleader, and I'm like, yeah, like we're still representing Panthers 24/7, like on socials, on everything. People know a lot of us for being a cheerleader, and I feel like that does help promote Panthers as well, because like we are still an NRL team that doesn't have, like, we're lucky to still be there, and some NRL teams don't have their cheerleaders anymore, and I feel like it is a big part, and it is so special, especially we have so many dancers and children out there wanting to be like us as well. Like, it's helping them realize that we're still here and the industry is still here, and just because COVID happened doesn't mean that like we don't want it to go away. Like we all want dancing to get like pushed more into the industry and out there, because we do work so hard and it is such an entertainment. And I know I love watching dancing, and like I know I am a dancer, so obviously I will love it, but seeing like in other countries like LA and that, it is such a big thing over there, and it would just be a dream if we could make it just as big or just as important as singers and actors, because we do put so much time and effort in, and no one really sees how much you do. Like we do it like 24/7. We're always trying to get better as a dancer, and we're always working on our appearance and stuff like that. So like I think, yeah, I just feel like we need to grow our industry a lot more. So I feel like cheerleading does help it, because we are getting noticed more through that. But yeah.
And I also think that we do not only game day stuff, we are also doing like stuff throughout the weeks. Like not only do we train on Wednesday nights and then we do game day, sometimes we're doing appearances at like other places. We've had to do like golf club appearances. Westfield Penrith throughout the whole finals, like 4 weeks, whatever it was. We were there handing out stuff, spreading awareness of the game, making sure the Panthers were known, which they definitely were in Penrith. Penrith was pretty much shut down after the grand final. We had everyone celebrating, but we were just doing everything we can to spread the word of the finals, even to people who don't know anything about NRL, get to know that the cheerleaders going to be there. We're going to be there at the finals. We're going to be there performing. So come a bit earlier, because we're going to be there promoting even more of the game. And I just think like a lot of people don't see a lot of the behind the scenes stuff that we do and how much we actually do for the club, because I know, especially with all us girls, we have full-time jobs anyway, but on the days off that we do have, we're pretty much still working, so we never really have a day off. So
And I'd like to add on that and say that it's really important what Ashlyn brought up, and then also Rasheen as well, is the fact that we're actually always on. So it's something that I feel like all of us girls tell ourselves. So literally the moment that we park and we walk out of that car, we're on. So it's like, it doesn't stop. When I see fans, I'll always take the moment to actually interact with them, because I'm so grateful for that opportunity. And I think as well, something that has gone past, and I don't think the NRL is really capitalizing on yet, is the ability of social media and what that's going to really enable for them. So with social media, we've seen the rise of TikTok, for example. And I know so many of us girls, I know myself, I've posted TikToks and it's gotten 30,000+ views. Girls have got over 1 million views. One of the other girls in the squad, she posted one for grand final, over 1 million views. Erin, she posts so much stuff. And if you think about that, right, with social media and where it's going compared to, let's say, advertising, the club is getting so much promotion from us girls by doing this. And it's really, again, really endorsing the dance industry as well, which I think is so important. So there's so many more eyes now that are watching this space. And even with TikTok, you know, half of it started off with just people doing dances. And now we're able to sort of bring that same element. And at the same time, not only are we dancing and bringing joy to people that are watching that, but we're also promoting the club as well. And that's why I think cheerleading is really important. And I think it should maybe be looked at that, especially going forward. is that we've got girls like us who are on the platform using it and bringing a lot of attention and eyes to the club. And if you add that up, the eyes that are on that, I mean, add all the view counts together, it's over 2 million views from all the combined videos. And so I feel like we're bringing a lot of that now to the club, and I'm hopeful that maybe that can start to be a little bit more recognized as well.
What have all four of you learnt from each other on and off the performance field?
I think we've learned like from each other on and off the field how how you're preparing for the game, like getting ready, like all that. Even if it's as simple as, girls, we're going to be training, we're going to be getting sweaty before we get into our costumes, make sure your stockings are on before you get there, like little stuff like that. Or like, girls, we're going to be pushing it for time, like make sure your hair's curled like this, or like this is like so particular, but like if you just curl your hair and you don't brush it off, it looks like really springy, not that great. So we always remind each other, like, brush your hair out. And like, it's little stuff like that that we've learned from each other. And now is a routine. And like, even just when we're dancing or learning a routine, sometimes we have a complete mind blank. Like sometimes I cannot remember my count for the life of me. And like one of the girls might turn around and be like, oh, it's actually like this. But if you think of it this way, it's easier to remember. So I think we all have each other's backs and we're always trying to help each other, whether it's like getting ready for the game or after the game or in the routine, which is like really, really nice. It's a good little team dynamic we have.
I think as well for us, so little insight into our Wednesday nights. So we actually do this group circle at the end of every training session, and our coach will ask us like a random question. Literally, it could be like, what annoys you the most, or what are you the most grateful for, or what's your favorite season? So we really have the opportunity to get to know each other on a personal level. But I feel like with any team sport, especially when it comes to being on the field, you really have each other's backs, exactly like what Vesta was saying. Even if you forget, for example, like a count and you've got someone there to like remind you, but we really have each other's back. And I just feel like working in that team environment, we've just all been able to know how each other works and really be able to support each other during that.
Yeah, I feel like every week, like every year we have like new girls starting, and I know my first year everyone was so welcoming, and like everyone will pass on their advice from their previous years. So I still remember my very first game, and I was like, I don't get nervous to perform, but I was like, I've never performed on a like footy field. I don't know where to stand, I don't know how far apart I am, it's so hard. But knowing that the girls are there and they are looking at you and saying like, oh, get in line, like you're out of line, or like smiling at each other to hype each other up in case one of the new girls are stressed out, we're always there to help. And yeah, like bringing our past experience since being in it for a few years, like we always help like the new girls come in and like feel welcomed and stuff. So I feel like we definitely bring so much to the team, and we're always giving each other advice. And like if someone is forgetting like a step, or sometimes there's choreography that just doesn't stick in our heads and we just can't do that certain movement, like we'll help each other figure out how to like do it. Like we're just so supportive of each other, and like if you need help, you can just literally ask, and everyone will just be there for you. It's a really good environment.
Just to add on what Ashlyn said, I remember at the beginning of this season, we got all the new girls and we split into like groups with older girls that have been in part of the squad for a while, and each of those new girls got to be in a group, and we got to share some like wisdom or like some tips onto what to look forward for in the year, and just things to remember throughout the year that you probably won't like think of when you're starting. So it was really nice for the new girls just to like come in and be like, oh, okay, straight off the bat, this is what I need to remember, this is what I need to do, I need to be present within class the whole time. And it was just, I think it was a good eye-opener for them as well. And I think that's what made us have such a good connection, a good bond, because we got to know each other straight away, straight off the bat. And I was in Queensland at the time and I was still on Zoom in a group. I think Ashlyn was in my group, and like I still felt like I was there and a part of it. So it was a really good thing that we got to do.
Yeah, I feel like one of like the best advice that I ever got was, as I learnt anyway, but it was as soon as you go anywhere, you're on stage, you are performing. And I, like, as I said before, I will just go to the shops, or I'll just go, like, even if we go out clubbing, people will be like, oh, I have you on Instagram, like you're a cheerleader or something like that. And I'm like, yeah. So, like, you always have to perform. Like, you've always got to be like and like we've literally been, I think like a few of you girls were there too, like we went out, like a lot of the cheerleaders went out one night to like one of our local clubs, and there was a really, really big Panthers supporter, and he was like, oh my god, they're the cheerleaders, and he asked to come get a photo, and like we were not in our uniform at all, we were just all out there having like a good time, and then he asked for a photo, and like we were more than happy to do that because like he recognized us and said thank you so much. So I feel like that was one of the biggest advice I ever got, was you're constantly performing, you're constantly a cheerleader. Like if you are like a cheerleader for Panthers, like in Penrith, like a lot of people do know who you are. So like you've always got to have your face on, you've always got to talk to people, because yeah, you don't know who knows, everyone.
Two-part question. The first one is, who's into their TikTok the most? And the second part of that question, have any of you had some near misses in regarding to when the game is on?
Well, I think I can happily say I think Paige is into the TikTok the most. She's like our little social media queen. If we go into like the whole squad, we do have like Erin and Paige and Abby, who are like, I would call them more like social media influencers. They have like a following and stuff like that.
Don't even. Thank you.
Well, yeah, they post a lot, and they bring a good positive message into the game, and just spreading the word with NRL and the Pantherettes and cheerleading.
I agree, definitely. Like Paige is all over that stuff. Like as she mentioned before, she brought a ring light separate to Grand Final day. Thanks to that, I used that ring light. I took a photo, one of my most liked photos in a while on Instagram. So like Paige knows what to do. She's really good with all that social media stuff, and I think it goes hand in hand, if I'm not mistaken, with the degree she did at uni. So definitely, yeah, Paige is all over that. And like we have a few other girls, like as Rasheen mentioned, like Erin and Abby, like they're always doing stuff on social media and relating it back to cheerleading and Panthers. So like such good traffic. We have a few social media savvy people, which is really good and fun. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Oh
my gosh. Actually, this is the best story ever. Let me tell you, this one time, this was like, also, can I just say, I've been doing the math in my head, and I don't know if we can retake this, but I've been a Pantherette for 5 years, not 4. So, oh my goodness. But so one of the years that I was there, I believe it was my first year that I was there. I'll never forget it. Let me tell you, we were on the sidelines. I was there with another girl, and we were versing the Canberra Raiders, and the boys had a tackle that was coming towards us. And I will never forget, let me tell you, slow motion. It happened in slow motion. They were running towards us with the ball. And you know what I did? I'm like, you know what? I'm here now. I might have just close my eyes, pray to God, and then just like let the rest happen. And luckily I didn't get too like hurt, but one of the girls, her name was Liv. She's not there anymore. But at the time she got taken out. I fell down on the ground, but I loved her. Like I felt like I was really a part of the sport, and it made me realize that I don't think that I could ever pursue a career of being a cheerleader. Not cheerleader. Oh my God, that's what I do. Being an NRL player, because I couldn't even take a little tackle. So yeah, that's out of my career option.
Yeah, I feel like being on the side of the field, there's been times that the ball's just thrown at me that many times, and I'm just like throw the pom-poms up and just try and guard my face. But even when we're performing on the field, the boys will be there like warming up and like doing a few kicks and stuff. And like there's been times where like they haven't, like they're just so focused on training, and we're dancing in our positions, and like someone will just come charging at you, and you just gotta like watch out. But yeah, I feel like we always like kind of get a bit knocked out with the ball. Sometimes it just comes for you. You just gotta duck.
I think like as much as we rehearse and we practice, and you know, we can plan things, it's not a controlled environment. The boys are playing, we don't know what their plays are, we don't know who's in the crowd and what they're going to do. Like for example, at this grand final, because I was with the chaperone for majority of the game, two little things that happened that I was like, whoa, what's going on? Obviously, the chaperone, obviously the mascot doesn't have very good vision. He's in a very big suit, so his vision is hindered. And you know, as a lot of the fans like to do, they like to have a few drinks. And so one of them held out their beer can to the mascot and said, oh, hold this, I want to take a photo of you. And I whispered to the mascot, I said, maybe don't do that. And he still did it, and he dropped the whole thing, spilt on me, spilt on him the beer. And this was our grand final. I'm like, it's okay, we're running around, it'll dry. And then literally we walk about 20 meters and someone hands him a big Panthers flag. And the mascot is flapping it around, flaps me in the face a couple of times. So like it's little things like that, or like even if the ball comes next to us or the footy players, it's not as much as we plan and prepare, it's not a controlled environment, and like literally anything can happen on the field. Yeah.
I think the funniest memory I have in my head, and it's not even of me, it's the fact that I was like standing either in front or behind one of the girls, Jordan. And this was during like last year when COVID was a big thing. We weren't allowed near the players, like, because they were in their own clean zone. And we had to walk around the field because we had to leave 5 minutes early, so we weren't like too close or near the crowds and stuff. And they just happened to score a try, and right near the try, you can just see Nathan just charging at the fence because he just like put it down and then started running, and she's like trying to like stand so far but like ran into her, and I was like, oh my god. And we're too busy like, are we gonna get in trouble? We didn't mean to come near them. But it was just the fact that like anything could happen. They could tackle at the right moment, to score a try at the right moment, kick a ball, and it could hit you. You just have to be there and just like take it. That's what we're there for. So it was some good memories.
All for you. Thank you so much for giving up some of your time to join us. This is one of the best interviews we've done for a long, long time. And thank you so much. Congratulations on an amazing year. Obviously, I wish I was up in Sydney to support yourselves, because as you all mentioned, and I do watch your games on TV. Obviously, been down here in Melbourne, and you know, you do a fantastic job on and off the field, and fantastic in regards to, you know, sharing the community, and especially the Penrith area and the Blue Mountains, especially. And I can't wait to hopefully be up there next year. And I think I might have to swap teams. I think swap my NRL teams to support the Panthers this next season. But thank you so much, and I can't wait to hopefully see you all up there in Sydney next year.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having us. We really appreciate it.
No, thank you.
No worries. And of course, if you want to, follow, of course, the Pantherettes throughout, of course, next season, or even now, even though the season's not over, obviously the season's over, but obviously we'll put all the details up on how you can follow the Pantherettes on social media. There's more on the Smash Everything show right after this. Don't go away here on the 10th year celebration.